3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Hi guys, what is up? Welcome back to the Sports Shift with me, Ian Marquez. Today we're going to be previewing all of this weekend's Premier League action and talking about all the big matchups. Let's get started. So week 16 with some big matchups coming up. Let's see where it goes. These are all the fixtures. Some matches to point out. We have Liverpool hosting Fulham. Fulham have been a very difficult team to break down. Newcastle hosting Ruben Nistelrooy's New Leicester. I see a lot of goals in that matchup. Battle of the relegation teams between Wolves and Ipswich. That's actually quite a huge game. If one team manages to get 3 points, that could be significant in their fight for survival. Then we have two teams fighting for, I'd say, the top 6 for a European position right now. Forest hosting Aston Villa. Aston Villa will be coming off a Champions League game, while Forest will be well rested. That can prove pivotal. Brighton trying to find their feet once more with rejuvenated Crystal Palace, finally finding form after a slow start to the season. On the Sunday games, we have the big Manchester derby, two Manchester teams struggling to find form, followed by second place Chelsea hosting high-flying Brentford. We know about Brentford's wavering away form. Let's see if they can find their feet there. Southampton struggling for points. Host Spurs needing a win after a sloppy game against Chelsea. And then Bournemouth, after a late comeback against Ipswich, will be hosting West Ham. So in the first game, we're going to go with Arsenal against Everton. Arsenal, once more, their corner routine have been superb. You know, some people call them Stoke FC, and I don't hate it, kind of agree with it. But if it works, it works. And until they find a way to stop it, keep doing it. But Everton have been a bit more solid defensively, as expected under Sean Dyche. They are susceptible to the goal. They aren't the strongest at set pieces, so I think Arsenal will prevail pretty comfortably at home and put the pressure on Chelsea and Liverpool. Speaking of, I have Liverpool to win at home to Fulham. Fulham with a tough game against Arsenal, holding on for a point. They played really well. They did deserve the point, but after that rest, due to the postponed game against Everton, I think Liverpool will win quite comfortably and maintain their position atop the league. Once more, as you can see the trend, I have the home team prevailing. Newcastle after that defeat away to Brentford. Although Leicester have been playing well under Van Nistelrooy, I think Newcastle are just too strong for them. Isaac is in fine form, and I think Newcastle win quite comfortably in a high-scoring game. I have Ipswich taking a huge win away to Wolves in their fight for survival. I do believe both teams will score because the defensive haven't been great, but the question is just, will Ipswich be able to see out the lead? And this one might be kind of surprising. I have Nottingham Forest drawing to Aston Villa. I think both teams will score, but I believe after Aston Villa have to play a Champions League game and they're under a bit of pressure to get a result in the Champions League. After a strong start, but they faltered in the last couple of matches, I think they'll be a bit leggy. They've been playing a lot of football, and Forest are a difficult team to play against. I think this game will end in a low-scoring draw. I think Brighton get back to winning ways versus Crystal Palace. It's a bit of a letdown game after their huge draw at home to Manchester City, but I think Brighton will find their feet. João Pedro has been playing well. It hasn't really returned in terms of goals, but he's been playing well. Baliba behind them, controlling the game. Matoma on the wings, and when they have Minta, or they play with Welbeck or Ruta, I think Brighton just have too much quality for Crystal Palace. I know they have the struggle defensively due to the way that they like to play out from the back. Sometimes a mistake from the goalkeeper or whatnot. I do think they'll concede, but I still have them to come out with 3 points against Palace. This is probably a bit of bias in me, but I have United taking the win. I say like a 2-1, maybe a 3-2 game, high scoring game. Haaland probably gets a foolish goal. I think Bruno will probably score a penalty, but I just think United should prevail once they don't make any foolish mistakes defensively. Chelsea at home to Brentford. What we know about Brentford's away form, and we know how good Chelsea have been scoring goals, so I don't see how Chelsea drop points here. In a strong position, they've been playing a separate side in Europe, so their main players such as Palmer will be well rested. I think they win this one comfortably. Spurs, it's never a good idea to bet on Spurs. They always let you down, but I think they should have enough to do the job away on the south coast and overcome Southampton. It's very possible Southampton score because Spurs have not been the best defensively, but they've slowly gotten some defensive players back. Romero went off hurt. They have Van de Ven back. I think they'll have enough to get it done between the likes of Maddison, Son, Solanke. I think they'll get the win, a much new win after a rough patch of games since they beat Man City, and I think they move on. Meanwhile, Bournemouth at home to West Ham to finish off the week. Bournemouth with a tough, hard-fought win versus Ipswich. Some would say a bit fortunate at the end, and they were pretty wasteful with their chances. They created quite a few chances and were unable to score. Can Evanilson regain his form? I think he will, and I think Bournemouth win pretty comfortably. Although West Ham got the win against Wolves, they weren't very convincing, and I think they're still in a bit of trouble. So let's talk about our Prem picks. Well, first off the score, we have the ever reliable Salah and Isaac. Both have home games. Salah at home to Fulham, and I think he'll find a way, whether it's through a penalty or not. Newcastle at home to Leicester. Well, Leicester have been playing better. They have also conceded goals on the regular, and I think Isaac continues his fine form. I think these are pretty solid picks for goals, and also a safe bet, not too risky. We want in cards. Well, we have Gvardiol playing at home to Man United. He'll have to be defending against Ahmad, and Ahmad is so silky, so smooth. I guarantee Gvardiol will foul him, and more than likely, if it's a counter attack, it could result in a yellow card. Meanwhile, we have Ashiyan playing against Arsenal. Ashiyan versus Bukayo Saka don't need to continue, especially on Arsenal on the counter attack. Ashiyan loves to take a yellow card for the team, and I don't see why that can't happen this time. For the full-time result, we're going with Arsenal, Liverpool, and Newcastle. All will be playing at home, and they're all in fine form. Although Newcastle suffered a defeat to Brentford, there's going to be a different situation at home with a nice fixture against Leicester. I think this is a pretty safe pick for all three teams to come out with 3 points. I found a bit of a long shot feeling frisky. I'm going to go with Bruno to score. I do foresee a penalty in this game, whether it's for United or City. It's always a rough game, lots of fighting, a lot of battles, a lot of tackles, and I think one team gets a penalty. Bruno actually does like to play against City. He has scored quite a few times, so if you want a long shot, I go for him. As I said, this game is going to be feisty, so I'd also go for Bruno to get a yellow card. I argue with the ref, a tough foul, just losing his temper. It's very common to see Bruno get a yellow, and I don't see why in one of the biggest games of the season that would change. Meanwhile, I'm going to add Chelsea here. That's just because Palace have been playing a little bit better. I'm going to add Chelsea here. That's just because Brentford have been playing a little bit better. I know that they're away from home, but they do still have the capacity to score in any game. So it's not a guarantee, so it's a little bit of a riskier bet, but I still think Chelsea should come out on top. So that's going to cover it for our predictions. Let me know if you guys are on the same page as me, or if I'm just talking madness. Otherwise, enjoy this weekend's games, and see you guys later.